We're very sorry it's not possible to have a public meeting, but of course everyone's health and the effort to stop the spread of COVID-19 are paramount. So we hope everybody is keeping well, and as you can see, we're recording these videos separately. We wanted to meet so that we could tell you why we've changed our position on Sizewell C from serious concern to outright opposition. So in these videos we're going to explain that. We're also going to give you an idea of what happens when, or if, EDF submits its application for permission to build Sizewell C. That's called a Development Consent Order, and you'll hear it referred to in these videos as DCO. We're hoping that in these strange times EDF might pause along with much of society, but we'll talk a bit more about that later on. But let's start with our new identity. We will, going forward, be known as Stop Sizewell C, but rest assured we're the same people from the same place with the same experience. We just hope that we'll be able to have a more national reach in the future. Thanks to some generous supporters, I've been able to take a one-year sabbatical from my current job, and I'm now working full-time on Stop Sizewell C. So I'm going to pass to my colleagues who are going to explain to you why we've changed to Stop Sizewell C.
Hello, I'm Paul Collins. As well as being chairman of Teagues Limited, better known as Stop Sizewell C, I'm also secretary of Minsmere Level Stakeholder Group. Teagues was formed after stage 1 consultations finished in 2013. Since then, we have engaged with EDF to try to amend its proposals to build 2 new nuclear reactors at Sizewell and ameliorate some of the major impacts on the Theberton and Eastbridge parish, the area of outstanding natural beauty, and surrounding nationally and internationally recognised unique habitats such as RSPB Minsmere. The government's national policy statement recognises that Sizewell is significantly more environmentally sensitive than any other potential site. It is becoming increasingly apparent that the government's key advisors, the Environment Agency, Natural England and the Marine Management Organisation, are deeply concerned about EDF's preparations for submitting its DCO. We know because they have said so to EDF and the Planning Inspectorate. We continue to question whether a 32-hectare power station platform is too small for 2 reactors. Hinkley Point is 45 hectares and government recommendations are for 30 hectares per single reactor. The 32 hectares are only available if EDF moves existing Sizewell B facilities, destroying Coronation Wood and turning Pillbox Field in the AONB into a car park. Also, given the eroding and shifting nature of this coast, we question whether the site is suitable in the long term, given that it will have to store spent fuel from both Sizewell B and Sizewell C's 2 reactors until at least 2135. There is still no deep waste repository in sight. We share the RSPB's view that Sizewell is not a suitable place to build a new nuclear power station, and that significant damage to the water levels and wildlife movement between Minsmere, Sizewell Marsh and the wider area of outstanding natural beauty is unavoidable. The impact of the Sizewell C project is at odds with the government's own 25-year plan to increase biodiversity. EDF's Sizewell C proposal is the wrong project in the wrong place.
Hi, I'm Charles, and as well as being part of Stop Sizewell C, I'm chair of the B1122 Action Group. We're deeply opposed to many of EDF's proposals for delivering this massive double reactor project, and especially those proposals on transport and accommodation. Sizewell C will affect the whole of the Suffolk coast, and as EDF have abandoned both the jetty and, as far as we can tell, extensive use of rail, there will be over 1,000 HGV lorries a day at peak, plus thousands of vans, buses and cars on the A12 and the inadequate local minor roads. Imagine the noise, pollution and potential accidents. EDF is proposing 2 limited bypasses, but its poorly sited link road will disrupt communities and may have to be ripped up after the build. And for the first few years, the current roads will have to cope. EDF is claiming a big economic benefit, but much of this is smoke and mirrors. To keep costs down, they plan to use contractors from their Hinkley project, so local suppliers in the east of England could miss the boat. We have low unemployment here, and we think that their target of 2,000 home-based employees, that's within 90 minutes drive, is very ambitious. Independent studies on similar projects found that locals only get the lower skilled jobs and are sucked away from local businesses. And where there aren't enough specialists locally, the higher wages and supply chain spending inevitably flows out of the local economy. EDF has been saying that they will need 5,500 workers to build Sizewell C. But we've heard recently that they've significantly underestimated the number of construction workers needed for Hinckley. And this probably means they'll need yet more at Sizewell too. And if that happens, they've already admitted that all these extra workers won't be home-based. While they plan to build a multi-storey complex for 2,500 workers next to Minsmere and a caravan site for 600, there's no plans for where these extras would live. And all this is not acceptable to local people. Sizewell C will damage tourism. The heritage coast here, known for its beauty, tranquility and dark skies, is worth more than £200 million in tourism revenue a year. But all these eyesores, noise, dust, beach and footpath closures and road congestion is going to drive visitors away. Last year, the Suffolk Coast Destination Management Organisation found that tourism could lose up to £40 million a year and 400 jobs.
Hello, I'm Stephen Bret. I'm also Chair of Theberton and Eastbridge Parish Council. To conclude the local reasons for opposing Sizewell C, we've been disappointed at the consultations that have taken place over the last 7 years. In fact, the MP for our neighbouring constituency, Dr Dan Poulter, described EDF's treatment of local people as disdainful because of the lack of detailed information, including on environmental and community impacts. For this reason, we have called on the Planning Inspectorate not to accept EDF's DCO application, and others will say a bit more about that shortly. Our own efforts to engage with EDF have been frustrating and have not led to any significant changes that address our concerns. Even if we had more success in modifying EDF's plans, we've come to realise that the overall size of this project is such that it will overwhelm the natural landscape and habitats, significantly damage the existing economic well-being of East Suffolk and the Heritage Coast, and degrade living standards for both those who live here and those who enjoy visiting this quiet, tranquil and uniquely beautiful place. As a result, we feel we have no choice but to call for the project to be stopped, and we will continue to raise all these points and more alongside other similar-minded organisations during the DCO process and in our public campaigning. And I might add that last week, Theberton and Eastbridge Parish Council took a vote on this, and there was a total consensus from all those present that we should also oppose the project. So Stop Sizewell C is now also the official position of our Parish Council, like many others in our area.
Bob Flindle. My background is in planning, so I'm going to briefly outline the development consent order process. EDF cannot build Sizewell C without development consent being granted by the government. EDF plans to submit its application soon, perhaps at the end of March. The application is submitted to the Planning Inspectorate based in Bristol. The DCO process will be partly influenced by EDF's 4 public consultations between November 2012 and summer 2019, which is why we ask you to send copies of all your correspondence with EDF to the Planning Inspectorate. There are a number of steps. Step 1, the Planning Inspectorate has 28 days to accept or reject EDF's application. We have an outline action on our website in which you can tell the Planning Inspectorate why you think EDF has not properly consulted you and ask them to reject it. You can send that message now and personalise it with your own opinions. Step 2. If the application is accepted by the Planning Inspectorate, the pre-examination stage will begin. This is when we will see EDF's application for the first time, probably 50,000 pages of it. We plan to share the job of looking at the application with other groups and parish councils and are currently talking to them about that. At this point, we will encourage you to register as an interested party, which is essential if you want to take part in the public examinations that will follow. When you register, you must give your reasons for wishing to take part in no more than 500 words. The deadline to do this will be at about 2 months after the application is accepted, but nearer the time we will send round instructions on how to register and advice on what to write. Step 3, the public examination phase, will begin roughly 5 months after the DCO is submitted. Scottish Power Renewables DCO has reached this stage, and we welcome the decision by the Planning Inspectorate to postpone the preliminary meetings because of coronavirus. If and when the time comes for EDF, we will encourage you to take part alongside us and many other groups and share guidance about how to do so. Step 4. Once the examination phase is finished, which lasts in total not more than 6 months, the Planning Inspectorate has 3 months to decide what to recommend to Government about Sizewell C, whether it should be given consent or refused. Step 5. Finally, the Secretary of State, currently Alok Sharma, will have a further 3 months to make a final decision. Altogether, this process takes about 17 months, so if EDF make its application at the end of March, we could expect a government decision in late August 2021.
Hello, it's Alison again. Before I wrap up, I should also say that there are other reasons we've decided to oppose Sizewell C, including EDF's appalling record at building this type of reactor, the way it could be funded, and also because we don't believe that it's needed in order to address our climate crisis. Indeed, every pound invested in Sizewell C is a pound that could be spent on cheaper, faster renewables, energy efficiency measures and technological advancements. We're also deeply concerned that the energy coast will damage the heritage coast forever. Much greater government intervention is needed to sort out this mess. And you can find more about the reasons that I've just said and also what my colleagues have said on our website, stopsizewellc.org. I also want to take a moment to pay tribute to Paul Field, who died last week. Paul, who lived with his wife and family on the A12 just where the Sizewell Link Road would leave that road, had become very involved in our campaign. As a journalist, he'd helped us enormously, and we're going to miss him a great deal. He'd become something of a mentor to me and also my friend. So we send our love to Michaela and to their 3 girls, and we will carry on with the campaign that he so passionately believed in. So what can you do to help? Well, first of all this information will be on our new website, which is stopsizewellc.org. So don't worry if you don't remember everything, and don't worry if you enter teagues.org out of habit, because that will redirect to this site. So this page, Why Stop Sizewell C, explains a lot of what we've been discussing this morning. Our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages have also changed to Stop Sizewell C. If you were already a follower, don't worry, you don't have to do anything. If you weren't a follower, please do, because we will need to be in touch digitally these days now more than ever. If you know of someone, a neighbour who isn't online, it would be a great kindness if you could perhaps print one of these leaflets from our website, it won't be orange, and pop it through their door, gelling your hands first, of course. Our current priority is to call on EDF not to submit its DCO application at a time when we think the Planning Inspectorate and the government will have insufficient resources to be able to deal with it properly, when the public will be prevented from properly engaging. So you can help that by writing to EDF to say that you don't want them to submit, and copying a Suffolk Coastal MP, Therese Coffey, and details are on the website. Secondly, we have a new online action which you can get to through our website, sizewellc.org/action. And this, courtesy of our friends at Some of Us, is an email action to send a message to the Planning Inspectorate telling them not to accept EDF's application on the grounds of the inadequate consultations over the last 7 years. There is an option to personalise that message, which we actively encourage you to do because it will have a lot more impact if you do. Of course, we'll alert you immediately if EDF does go ahead and submit its DCO application, and as Bob said, we'll guide you through the process and give you plenty of notice of when things need to be done. We are also currently meeting with other NGOs. We are in communication with parish and town councils. We're still in touch with district and county councillors and figures associated with government to express our concern and make sure we're as ready as possible. And of course, with our change in position, we will be talking to TASK, for example, about ways to collaborate more closely, and we're in regular contact with the groups working on the wind farm projects. So finally, let us know if you'd like to be more involved. We're always grateful for donations, and there's a way to do that through the website. You can email us on info@stopsizewellc.org. The old email of info@teagues.org also works, and we're very happy to also take questions through Facebook or Twitter, and we're also very happy to phone anyone who wants to have a more in-depth conversation. So finally, thank you for listening, thank you for your support. Take care of each other, stay safe and well, and we look forward to seeing you face to face at some point in the not too distant future. Goodbye.